So I want to take a quick step back from the video that I did yesterday. The video yesterday, I talked about communication and figuring out how you can better understand how another individual communicates and start to match and mirror that individual's communication and start to communicate with that person in a way that you know or have more certainty that that person or that group of people will receive your message more effectively so that they'll make the specific mental changes or behavioral shifts and take the action that you're looking for them to take, that you need them to take, or that the group or team or organization or they themselves need them to take. But I want to take a step back in the sense of, I think it's a good strategy to really start to become more aware of the way we communicate. How do you know, how do you communicate best? Right? How do you know when you're receiving a message better than another time? The only way to start to recognize that is to become self-aware. The only way to become more self-aware is to start slowing ourselves down in any given interaction to the point where we can start to recognize and absorb how we're receiving that information, how we're acting upon that information, how we're making certain mental shifts or changes to our perception of reality or belief system or our desire to do or say a certain thing. Right? So my point with this is simply that we really need to start becoming more self-aware and cognizant of the way we best receive information in order for us to then become more outwardly aware of how others receive information. Because if we can start to gain an understanding of how we as an individual communicate, then it becomes a little bit simpler on the fly to have a conversation with anybody and to recognize more quickly how that person communicates, how that person absorbs and receives a message. So that's my challenge to you. Start to become more aware, slow yourself down in conversation or in any kind of interaction, and recognize, do you receive information better by simply listening, by watching someone act something out, by watching someone write something down, by watching two people interact, by watching the activity acted out, by really digging yourself into that particular behavior or activity or getting yourself mentally in that scenario? How do you best start to absorb and receive and process information or a particular message to then act on it and change certain behaviors or certain mindsets? Right? So when you start to recognize that behavior, then you can start taking the next steps of starting to become more aware of how other people interact with you and how other people absorb and receive that information and take action on information. So start with yourself. Start to become more self-aware with yourself so that then you can move forward and start to become more self-aware of interactions with other people to the point where you become aware of their actions and reactions and behavior and mindset and communication techniques, strategies for their own success. Until then, have fun, be awesome.